Today's customers are fickle and hard to satisfy. This makes it quite challenging for retailers as they struggle to match up with the fast changing customer needs and expectation. But as a retailer, offering both an online and offline channel to your customers for their shopping is not the end to your duties. Your consumers expect delightful experiences more than just a transactional relationship. And merging your online as well as offline retail world will be a winning strategy to make them fall for you endlessly. In today's exclusive session, we'll explore how brands or the retailers can create a seamless yet unified customer journeys that flow across a range of various channels without any disruption and drive incremental revenue. To set up the context, I would like to invite our esteemed panel speakers. We have Mr. Mahendran PA, who is the Director Global IT Operations from Philips. We'll also have Mr. Ashwin Prajapati. He is the CIO for the Symphony Limited. We'll have Mr. Rakesh Gupta. He's the Head Customer Services at Panasonic Life Solutions India Private Limited. We have Mr. Karan Sobati. He's the Business Head National Accounts at Carrier. We also have Mr. Anil Bhushan, who is the Director at Photonics. And for with this our elite panels, we have our panel moderator for the day, that is Mr. Santosh Patali. He's the head of pre-sales and solutions global at Urban. Over to you, Santosh sir, to take the discussion forward from here.
Thank you, to be part of this esteemed panel to discuss the connected retail. Uh, Among all of you, the total amount of experience on this panel is probably more than 100 odd years. You guys have seen the retail evolution right from the initial phases where it was completely offline to multi-channel to omni-channel now. And specifically with the pandemic, the complete digital transformation journeys of all brands got fast forwarded. It became of prime importance. Customers' behavior changed. Customers started getting comfortable looking at different channels to shop as well. And today, like Palak was mentioning earlier, customers not only expect a complete unified experience right from the time when they engage with a brand to making a purchase decision during the transaction and then post purchase as well, once the purchase has been made after that as well. So they are looking at a complete relationship with brands, and it is not just at one point in time or one transaction. Having said this, that is the customer's perspective. Similarly, even for brands, it has become very important to be able to uniquely identify customers, be able to cater to their needs and optimize and retain those customers and increase their loyalty. So with that needs, with these kind of needs, it has become imperative to provide a unified retail experience, connected retail experience. Uh, so the way I would like to go about this conversation is, I don't think I would be the right person to kind of introduce you. So I would request you all to talk about yourself for a couple of minutes, and then we can get into our discussions. Uh, I'll just go by the order I see on my screen. Start with Mr. Anil. Would you like to talk about introduce yourself before we start?
My, my name is Anil Bhushan, and I'm the founder director of Photonics Fortuner India Private Limited. We are, I'm an entrepreneur for last 40 years. Basically, electronics engineering from Institute of Science, and in this consumer electronics business for last 40 years. And we are into solar products, solar equipment like inverters, chargers, batteries and panels, and renewable all LED lighting, which is basically uh, energy efficient lighting. So we are into the energy efficient and renewable energy business. And well, we are basically a B2B company. We cater to some of the leading brands in the country like Havel, Alonix, CMS, SPL, and we export our products to about 30 countries and against a very strict global competition. We cater to about 15 brands abroad. So that's our small journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anil. Over to you, Raj.
You weren't audible, Santosh. You took whose name? Sorry.
Your name, Rakesh. We'd like to
Oh, my name only. Okay, thank you. So, hi, my name is Rakesh Gupta. I head consumer services function at Panasonic Life Solutions. So, Panasonic Life Solutions is a fully owned subsidiary of Panasonic Corporation, and we are basically electrical arm of Panasonic. So we are involved into switches, switchgear, lighting, both professional and trade lighting, solar, EV chargers, fans, all those sort of electrical construction material products, which the brand was erstwhile known as Anchor by Panasonic. So a couple of years back, it changed to Panasonic Life Solutions. And I do have almost 20 years or a couple of decades in experience in consumer services, ranging from DTH services to biomedical instrumentation to consumer appliances. So here in Panasonic, I do handle the contact center operations, spare part operations, and the field service operations. That's what all about me, Dosh.
thank you, Rakesh. Mr. Mahendran, would you like to go next?
Okay, hey, thanks everybody, and this is Mahindran. I'm currently with Philips, Royal Philips actually, Royal Philips Healthcare division. In fact, I have more than 30 years of experience, 15 years in Titan industry, in the watch division, jewelry division, um, 40 there, and also involved in the setting up of those plans and everything and all in my early career. And then moved to GE. I worked in GE for 8 years in various global programs. And then briefly in Satyam, I am using Satyam name because when it was Satyam, I was there. And then currently it is Tech Mahindra, I think you all know that. And after that, we have started an IT company. So we ran that company for 4 years with the taking the investors' help of Ashok Leyland Group, Indija Group, and we ran that company for its name Defense Technology for 4 years. And after that, I joined Philips. I worked in Philips Lighting for some time, and after that, I currently I'm in the Philips Healthcare. And here I am just taking care of the operations, IT operations, especially the proactive operations for Philips IT, and also like the IT services performance management. So that is what actually I'm looking at. I hope that I will add value in the discussion and bring context to this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mahendran. Karan, would you like to go next?
Yeah, thank you, Santosh. Good afternoon to all. My name is Karan Sopti. I come from Carrier HVAC operations for India. So as Santosh was mentioning that there are multiple brands with Carrier, and just to share my thoughts and maybe to clarify on uh, what we are and who we are, so that we understand the perspective how we operate in this market. Carrier has been in HVAC industry for more than 100 plus years. And we have been a global organizations right from the beginning. We operate largely in HVAC space in B2B segments across major countries. And in India, we have been present since more than 25 odd years. We have been manufacturing in India as early as from 1998 onwards. And we are present in all categories of HVAC products, right from split air conditioners to cassette ACs to ducted ACs and VRF and chillers, which are into semi-commercial and commercial applications. And in my role within Carrier, I manage the overall corporate account division with end-to-end insight on overall multiple customers in different segments, right from retail, banking, IT, F&B, e-com. And my role is to make sure that they get the right product at the right time and go through using that product during the entire life cycle seamlessly. So I manage both sales part of it and overall service operations project part of it as well. So it's a complete business unit, and we cater to more than 100 plus partners and customers that are associated with us for more than 20 odd years. And we have been present in their growth, and we have been able to partner with them for this decade, multi-decade, expansion that they have had. And good to connect with you all. Looking forward to some good insights and to contribute as well. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Karan. Mr. Ashwin, you are on mute.
I'm sorry, extremely sorry. Uh, Good afternoon, all. This is Ashwin Prajapati. I am a group CIO for Symphony Limited. I have experience of around 30 years. First couple of years I spent into the manufacturing like Welspun, Ashok Leyland, and then I also have a 10 plus year experience into IT consulting where I spent wide work with the KPIT SAP practice. So then since last 5 years I'm working with the Symphony driving their IT strategy. You know, Symphony is a leader into the air cooling solutions for residential, industrial, commercial, and are also having a global presence across the world. So I am taking care of global IT operation for Symphony Limited. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for that wonderful introduction. Based on this introduction, I see that this particular group covers the complete gamut of business, right from setting up the business, owning the business, conceptualizing it, taking it global, managing the complete IT operations, to the channel partnerships and the B2B side of it, to the post purchase experience of customer service. I think this is going to be a wonderful conversation covering all aspects. To kick off the discussion, I would like to start with uh, a discussion on the pandemic has changed a lot of things. And while we look at business perspective, the customer perspective has also changed. The customers are looking at new and different ways of shopping or engaging with brands now. So just wanted to check, based on your experiences, what kind of changes in customer experience, customers' behavior have you seen? What are the challenges you have encountered, and how have you overcome these challenges? Given that we are now sitting at the beginning, or probably we are already into the third wave, what kind of learnings have come from the previous waves which will help drive the business today? Uh, Mr. Anil, would you like to share your views on this?
Our operation is not so much directly connected to the customers, but I can share some experiences of what's the environment now for the customer's point of view. Uh, yes, the online usage by the customers has increased a lot. It has the lockdowns and COVID has worked as a catalyst to them. Uh, we find that every person, whether he's in business or in a consumer, everybody is using media much more. So uh, I can see maybe there are parallel to B2B business also like B2C. There will be parallel because when you have the usage of media and the time taken for a transaction has come down drastically. There was a time, an inquiry used to take us 1 month or 20 days or 3 days. Today, the inquiry has to be disposed of within that day, within few hours. So, that is the speed that's the speed of the business by which it's moving today. So I see a similar parallel thing happening in the B2C segment also, and we see that happening in the B2B also. The customer needs immediate solution. He's not ready to wait, and he has a lot of options today. There were not so many options earlier, but today there's much more options. And another thing is, you cannot go wrong today, because there's so much of competition. You have to be right all the time. Whether you are giving a service to the customer, whether you are giving deliveries to the customer, whether you're responding to a customer, everything has to be right and very fast. So that is the change which I see parallel in B2B and B2C business. That's my thoughts about this is what.
Thank you, Mr. Anil. Mr. Mahendran, what kind of changes have you seen? What challenges have you faced?
Oh, I think you should not ask actually. The kind of change what we are just going through in the last say like 2 years plus is unimaginable. In fact, I also explained that now we have just worked from various manufacturing industries like Titan and also like GE and other things and all. So in fact, I also thought that once in a time, if you are not going to the office, if you are not going to factory, the entire world will stop. So that's the first kind of mindset. Actually, if you see where I'm just working, Philips, it's an 136 years old company, right? So it has the lot of more than 100 countries. It has operations, the manufacturing units in multiple places, and one place what you manufacture will come to another country for assembly. From third country, it will be distributed. So it's you cannot imagine the complexity what somebody can have. So in this particular time, I think the entire how do you say that the principles has been rewritten. The basic principles has been rewritten. In fact, if you see that the overall game, so we have this the manufacturing plants which need to cater for the requirement, and you have markets where you just talk to the customer, get the orders, and get it fulfilled actually. And you also have the employees, they need to be connected and they need to be working, elsewhere it was totally in a different ball game. And then you have obviously the customers. Earlier you used to have face to face meetings and you go there meet them, not possible. So in fact the entire the IT landscape, even though the applications or the way in which we are doing business in system not change, but at least the channels are completely different. And also like you need to remotely handle the entire thing. So that's real challenge, and it means that maybe it may be very very trivial, but including a network connectivity for a employee who's work from home. Okay, totally. You don't even in fact I think you also need to handle. I think we had multiple discussions when somebody from home, they asked that we just want to have, for example, there is a video conferencing facility. There's so much of questions. Why do you want that? Why can't we? So many things, and also the entire setup itself to take care of a data or a voice kind of a thing. That entire thing has been changed. In fact, we have around 80,000 plus employees across they working. So the entire network team, the IT way of working has been completely changed. And also the way in which we are engaging with customers, we need to get the digital connectivity, shops, in fact digital shops, and the point of sale monitoring. So you name anything, right? Everything is changed. So that way now this pandemic has brought the a new way of looking the life itself. So that is where actually the entire change, and also like I think that we also see that certain things require time to change time. And in fact we could all learn that now No, if it is a requirement, I think we'll all raise to that occasion and we'll do it. In fact, within we had almost like 2 to 3 months to reconnect everybody through remote working. So successfully we could complete everything, and the entire team is successfully working on that. And today even we are talking about the productivity is more in an earlier environment or current environment. And in fact, most places we have even proved that the productivity, except that you have a face-to-face customer connect kind of an area, where the productivity is much much more than even the previous world. So that's basically a thing. Of course, it also brings a lot of challenges. Like example, the learning cycle itself is very very short. Earlier, you used to have, even if we want to do a change, I know that whenever there is a small change, when we did the first SAP implementation, there is a change management portfolio. So you need to go through that complete world, through that change management portfolio. You create games, you create so many things you do it just to say that an ERP implementation. I am sorry to say that it's just a ERP implementation, because currently the changes what is the world is going through to that is unimaginable. So that is what currently going on. So the learning cycles are very very short. You just need to learn and you need to implement. So that's exactly what you have. And also the speed to market is very very critical. Now everybody is digital, everybody is online, and you cannot have the conventional way of handling things now. So everything need to be digital. You need to be lightning fast to be in the market, and you just take a share. I don't want to take the complete time. We can keep talking continuously on that. These are all some of my reflections, and key thing is like, yeah, everything has changed. That's what, in one word, I just want to tell.
Thank you, Mr. Mahendran. I can see a lot of smiles going on when you and Anil, Mr. Anil, were talking about it, because I'm sure all of us have experienced this. Mr. Anil brought in the perspective of how the changes has impacted the B2B world, and then similar reflections are showing up on the B2C side of it. Whereas Mr. Mahendran spoke about the employee perspective and the changes that are happening. In my own conversation with various brands, what I have also experienced is before the pandemic, different brands or different retailers were at different stages of digital transformation, and they had different modes and ways of doing their own businesses. Everybody was, pretty well set in their ways. But what has happened with the pandemic is that it has brought everybody back at a starting stage. Now everybody is at the beginning of the race, and this is kind of making it more of a leveling field. So based on where you are already in your digital journeys, you will be able to accelerate and get out of the starting line and be ahead while others are still catching up. With that, one of the points that Mr. Mahendran mentioned was about the change management that is really needed these days. And I could see a big smile going on, with Mr. Ashwin. I'm sure you have managed the change management across your organization when bringing together a connected retail experience. Just want to hear from your perspective as to why the change management is very important and critical, and how it impacts the business.
Yeah, yeah, thanks, Santosh. So, change management, prior to even joining Symphony, I was 12 years working for SAP Consulting, where each of my project or each of our project brings the change management, where our first sentence was to unlearn before learning new things. So, you have to unlearn. You have to, then only you can learn new things. So that time it was more like with a force we used to implement the change management. With a pandemic, the current situation last 3 years, there is a paradigm shift the way you are doing the business. So change now, it is a compulsion to survive. You have to change. If you don't change, you won't able to survive, whether it is a sales operation, or is a production planning, or is a project management, any function. The way you were doing previously, the same way you cannot do. So today you have to change the way you are. So then yes, when you go for a change, irrespective of gender and age, there is a resistance when you go for any change management. And there resistance you have to overcome by constantly counseling, giving them a benefit of what the change bring into on the table, what the value it brings on the table. So change management, but again I would say that it is a continuous process. Change management, it's not going to be end with even pandemics. Post even pandemic is over also, the chances are very remote that we will go back to the traditional way of business. Because finally, what is business? In business, the important is that what your customer wants, and now customer wants you to deliver him smarter way, rather than the traditional way. So if you have to by end of the day, everyone in business is for customers, and the customer want a different way it is to be delivered. So as an organization, it is very important that we change our business model, the way we are delivering, and to make it change, you have to change in organizations also. So that's why the change management is very important, and it is a continuous process. It's not only end with the any one project or one program in any organization. Yeah.
Sure. You touch upon a great point about the internal changes as well as customer facing changes, and how the customers are looking forward to the changes. Rakesh, you have been on the other side where you or your team actually interacts a lot with the customer after the post purchase. Perspective, what there is also a need for a change management on that side as well, to be able to provide this connected experience and be able to meet the customers changing needs. So what kind of change management have you seen on that side, and how have you overcome those challenges?
So, COVID-19, or, this pandemic has changed the consumer experience in far more ways, which we can imagine, or we would have ever thought of. And, we are still trying to figure out deploying the strategies in which we could deliver better consumer experiences, or transforming the ecosystems, and that too for a considerable length of time. As rightly said by Ashwinji, it is not going to be a sprint, 100-meter sprint race. It is going to be a marathon. This is going to run for longer period of time, and as you mentioned, the change management as respective to the consumer behavior, how consumer behavior is changing. Consumer behavior today is about the increased focus on health and safety. People at leisure try to do DIY. Previously DIY was available only in European countries or in the American subcontinent, but Indian consumers are also trying DIY nowadays, so exploring new ideas. They're ready to pay the premium for better services, or to get connected through an online platform, or anything else which can help to have a better hands-on experience. Besides that, as far as the patience levels of the consumers are concerned, they have become more prone to escalations, or when their demands are not met as compared to the previous time. They are looking for trust in service providers. These consumers have been looking trust into a recent surveys which has been done. 52% of consumers say that support through social networks isn't high interest of point. All of whether we say that online is increased, but a very recent survey says that still 52% of consumers say that social network or app is not a high interest of time. 41% says that yes, okay, we will use it. The rest of them are not concerned about it. As far as change management you have discussed, we'll have to drive the consumer behavior change. We'll have to access what exactly consumer needs. We'll have to replace the in-person touch points with digital, which I hope you will be covering, in later part of your presentation. In-person touch points, to a retail shops are now getting changed or diverted towards the digital. We'll have to invest into technology. Customer services success is the new normal. And most importantly, we'll have to focus on listening what our consumers want to say as of now. Build internet relationships. These are some of the change management which we have done. Other than doing many field service enablers.
Thank you, Mr. Rakesh. When we are looking at the overall change from a customer perspective, how do you present this? Now, what Rakesh spoke about was, once the consumer has made a purchase. Now, to moving on to you, Karan, when your channel partners are working today, they would also be impacted because of the customers behavior changes in the customer behavior. How are you looking at using the digital tools to provide a connected experience for them? How are you looking at bringing them on board to these kind of changes, so that they are still able to connect with their customers, they are still able to serve the customers, they are still able to uh, uh, continue doing business, but in a different way. The change management is happening in a slightly different way for them. The way they are servicing a customer has to change. So want to hear from you about what you have seen in your
Right.
experience.
So, first of all, I echo what Mr. Mahindran also mentioned regarding the overall impact of the pandemic. And I mean, we have to understand also from a point of view that it is a life-changing experience. Fortunately or unfortunately, this generation has seen that getting manifested in multiple, ecosystems around us, whether it is business ecosystem or our own relationship with our family members, how we work, how we proceed to solve any problem offline, online, customer based, or whether at work or whether at home. So it has been a very overwhelming experience last couple of years, and it continues to manifest itself. We don't know where it is heading. We don't know how it has manifested itself in last 2 years to be where we are today. So a lot of changes have happened. I mean, first of all, I mean, we can't take anything for granted, right from the air that we are breathing to the orders that we used to have, and more, sense was made to fulfill those orders. So more than anything, I think this changes about mindset. This changes about how mentally agile we are to respond to our end customers, to our partners who are there in our ecosystem. As you mentioned, that how our channel partners are going through these changes, and what we can do to help them survive or navigate this wave or this pandemic. So very important, frankly. I mean, I understand that end customer interaction and engagement can only be improved if all the interconnected links that come in between an OEM from the point of manufacturing to the point of selling or servicing that end customer, if all the links in the chain are pruned well, serviced well, are made capable enough to respond to the end customer requirement, then only we can normally, respond to the changing behaviors or patterns that we are seeing from our end customers or users. So when we say our channel partners, they went through for us in a HVAC industry, they went through a lot of difficulties. During first and second waves, there were a lot of attrition in the manpower, many manpower which was working and stable in tier one cities went back to their hometowns. Half of them never returned back. So they had to scale it up again. So the manpower challenge had to be scaled up quickly and efficiently with right training tools, with more emphasis on quick deployment at sites. The technology that we were using earlier overnight became obsolete. We could not, use physical paper copy when it comes to a service interaction. We had to digitize it immediately. That got digitized with this pandemic, and with all the efforts that we had to make sure that we are capable to ride this wave. The overall connectivity, the visibility or the connect that our partners have with our customers or we have with our partners was in a way broken. The connect that used to happen during physical visits, during personal interactions, there was no way to now visit anybody. So we had to build a mechanism to connect with our partners, our end customers from grounds up, be it through Teams meeting, be it through digital connects, be it creating certain forums where all can participate well and share their thoughts, understand each other. But I think it also brought in a lot of positive insights. We could understand them better today because all of us were suddenly in the same boat. We could relate to it, how they were going through their difficulties. We could tell them about our challenges, and we could jointly discuss and come out with solutions that could benefit our end customers. Earlier it used to always be our challenge versus your challenge, and then let us find a middle way. Today, it is more about navigating it together, how we can cut losses for both of us or all of us so that we can jointly drive value for our end customers. So I think it has brought a lot of changes in the way we think about our channels, our partners, and about our products also. We had to come out with a lot of alternate business models for our end customers. So not looking at a customer from a transaction standpoint where he places an order and I supply a product, but to make sure that his OpEx is also safeguarded, his capex is not too high with the input cost increase that this industry has seen over the last 1.5 to 2 years. the pricing challenges, the FX headwinds. So a lot of challenges came together at one go, and with joint discussion and contribution and connecting them on digital platforms. So when we talked about, how to overcome this challenge through digital connect, we had to provide our partners with a seamless digital experience so that they can have visibility, to our inventory levels. They can also interlink, and placement of orders can be, more seamless rather than a physical copy and a rather, a usual way of business where our representatives go to a channel partner place, pick up orders, and then deliver machines. Instead of that, it had to be done seamlessly. So we introduced a model which was akin to what we have in an e-com space, like we made it as simple as placing an order online. So we had to come out with a FG ordering modules where our partners could place their orders online without any interface from any company employee, which helped us actually and which helped them as well. It was very quick deployment of the order management process. Now we are trying to integrate their channel financing requirements in that model itself. So like you go on an Amazon today and seek an EMI to fulfill your order. Today our channel partner also are looking at the same module where they can place an order, and these orders are runs into crores of rupees, and then link that with the channel financing platform which is provided by a third party. So we are trying to integrate that all, and it's a very exciting time, frankly. This crisis has brought a lot of opportunities for us to explore, and it looks difficult on the go, but we are approaching it at one step at a time, resolving the problems on the go. But it's equally exciting as it is challenging. That's my comment on that.
Absolutely, Karan. In fact, even in my conversation with some of the brands, what I've seen is, there's no longer differentiation in the way the B2C channels versus B2B works. This pandemic has kind of accelerated or moved some of these best practices from B2C business into B2B business as well. I mean, we have brands where they have a digital tool. Instead of a catalog based selling, they have a digital tool that can be used by the sales associates on the ground who go to the various retailers and help take orders from there, give them the clear visibility, let them know what is their credit limit, how much have they exhausted already, where are they, can they get more, when are they expecting their products to get delivered, so on and so forth. This is very similar to how a normal B2C customer-facing apps work. Similarly, many of the online kind of e-commerce kind of journeys have also come in, where they are able to place orders. The orders go to either the distributors to whom they are connected to, or if they are not able to fulfill, then directly goes to the brand, and then through the specific channel ends up at the retailer who's going to make a sale to the customers. So that has been my experience. So Mr. Anil, when you were talking about B2B and B2C, have you considered or have you seen these kind of digital tools helping the B2B business? Has it made their life easier? What are the kind of tools that you are considering as a business? Are you looking at an integrated inventory view that provides the capabilities for these retailers to see what is it that is available to them, place orders, or are you looking at enabling your sales staff with digital tools to make this seamless?
Yeah, actually, as other speakers have said, the transformation into the uh, online business has been very, very fast and swift. IT usage has gone up so much. But I find, there are two aspects to this. There is one side where, it is aiding. Another side, it has been a hindrance also because of the COVID. Now, when we talk about the export business or, you know, an OEM which is away from us, many things traditionally which has been being done is personal visits, you know, uh, their exhibitions visits, participating in the exhibitions. I find, our experience, we have taken parts in the online exhibitions also. It's not so effective. You don't have face to face with a new customer. You very difficult to. interact with a new customer, digitally first time, you know. So if you have a running brand and you have your channel partners already in place and converting them into the physical to digital base, uh, one aspect. But then when you are interacting, when you are giving a call to a new customer, whether it is through the exhibition or a visit, we find a lot of handicap in that because the travel restrictions, health considerations, the marketing people, very difficult to travel. So this has been a lot of challenge in that area. Yes, if you have a ongoing customer, then you can reduce the physical interactions. You can have more online meetings. All that is possible. But when you are hitting somebody cold, you know, using only digital is a big challenge, which we faced. That's the experience of that.
Sure, Mr. Anil, you are absolutely right when you are, because these are high involvement purchases and these are also
Yes,
something not very easy, unlike certain other categories.
yes,
They need a lot of trust building, they need a lot of information
yes,
exchange, understanding before uh, onboarding any channel
yes.
partner, customer, retailer, any of these. So that is the reason why it is a hybrid approach. Absolutely. I see. Karan, while you were mentioning this, right, and like was mentioning, it is more of a hybrid approach where what I have seen is totally digital is still not necessarily for certain categories where high involvement is. Right.
Santosh,
Like,
you're not audible properly.
hello, is this better now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's better.
Yeah, slightly better. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Apologies. What I was mentioning was, given this high involvement kind of a category that, we are all talking about, purely digital is not necessarily as easy to implement today. Whereas the current offline model also does not work because, there are challenges because of the pandemic, travel, or even certain times there could be lockdowns or unavailability in certain locations. So more of a hybrid approach is what I have seen, where we have worked with brands where you enable or create digital tools that supplement your current behavior to make certain things very seamless and easy. And it derives quite a bit of intelligence from the data that is available. So, Karan, what has been your experience with digital tools for your channel partner enablement?
Yeah, so rightly said. I think hybrid is a feasible model. I mean, we cannot take physical interaction out of the equation, anyways. I mean, the crux of any business or any interaction is the relationship that you carry with the other person. I mean, whether it is your channel partner or the end customer or the supplier or even your internal team member. So physical aspect can never go away. I mean, that continues to be extremely important for all of us, specifically for a product like an air conditioning, where it's not off the shelf product. I mean, you can't just buy it and plug it in. You need somebody to come to your place and install it properly, explain the features, and then regularly keep coming to your house 4 times in a year to service it properly, to maintain it well. So you can't take physical out of the question. But what we have done, or what we are looking to do, is to integrate the visibility part of the overall relationship with the physical interaction. Today, in an era of Zomato, Swiggy, we all are users of these digital tools. We know how seamless it has become. I mean, grocery has become 10 minutes away now. I mean, I if I have to approach physically a nearby shopping center, even I can't go there in 10 minutes, but I can get it delivered in 10 minutes. So so that's the kind of era we are living in. So now, as a user, we have been exposed. We know the power of this digital transformation, what Ola and Uber could bring to transport industry. Now Swiggy, Big Basket, Instacart, Reliance Jio, all of these players are bringing to our overall buying experiences. So But at the end of the day, even if you order from Swiggy, end of the day you get approached by a delivery partner, you know, who is courteous or not courteous, who is wearing a mask or not wearing a mask, who is visibly appealing that he is professionally delivering your product or not. These all are small nuances of overall interaction and very subtle part of overall interaction that as a user you notice, whether you comment on it or not, but you notice, and that impacts your buying behavior. So apart from integrating the digital tools, giving our partners and customers visibility on their product, whether it is ordering, whether it is servicing, whether it is their warranty interaction or maintenance interaction. We also have to build up tools to get connected with them at multiple touch points, whether it is through an online meeting, whether it is once a quarter meeting instead of once a month meeting. But you have to be there. You have to travel within the peaks. You have to make sure that your team is connected with them when your overall from health perspective, you are allowed to visit and meet customers, and when your customers also allow in to meet you, because some customers may not be open to meet you. We have seen that kind of guardedness when it comes, and it is duly respected as well, because health comes first for all of us. So we have to find a way out. As I said, it is an ongoing shift that we are experiencing, and there will be certain tools that maybe are able to cater to our needs today and may become obsolete as soon as a next quarter comes in. So we have to continuously evolve, look at it, re-evaluate every action and business model to continuously be adaptive. That is the way it is going to be. So there is no one solution fit all, and we have to continuously relook at all the tools that we are deploying.
Thanks, Karan. So, like you rightly mentioned, we have seen, bringing together all the nodes where there is inventory together to create a connected view and providing this visibility to uh, every partner channel, but where it could be channel partners, it could be retailers, it could be consumers, it could be any of that. Now, when this is being done, and like you mentioned, with the limited physical interaction, and like Mr. Anil was also referring earlier, it can't be done away, but you have to make it much more smarter, and that requires creating all this connectivity, generating, creating all of this data, and then deriving intelligence and smarts out of this data. And a lot of brands are starting to use AI for this, and are looking at optimizing the whole smarts. So, Mr. Ashwin, uh, want to touch upon or talk to you about the overall bringing these smarts or intelligences or AI to that data and providing something that is much more usable and friendly and relevant, and at that moment to the different channels or different customers, as well as internal as well as external users.
Yeah, so thanks, Santosh. And as Current has rightly pointed out that the way you do the business is change. Similarly, the buying behavior also change of any customer. Now it is very important that by using the technology, whether it's a AI or it's a ML or it's a blockchain, any technology, we will have to make sure that how we give the unique experience, or we give the unique experience to the customer, smarter experience to the customer, like how we can reduce his buying cycle. Second, how we ensure that he gets the product fits suits to his requirement. Take example of let's say one of the online furniture store, where when you want to buy any furniture, they gives you 360-degree rotating of that device. Second, they will also give you the, you put the particular room, and then it shows you how this in your room it looks like, without going to physically to store. Sitting in front of laptop, it gives you how it looks like. 360-degree you can rotate, you can put that piece of the furniture into your specific room, gives you the experience how it looks like. Then another is that this is one when it customer. Now how to predict the buying pattern of the customer, that also need lot of data, from geography wise data, product wise data, consumer sentiment data. This data need to churn through the analytics and predict what is the which model, which area, how it, where the demand is. So one is the predicting demand using the AI, and one is that customer getting unified buying experience through AI, where I would just smarter experience. So let it be furniture, let it be even you go to the Myntra, Flipkart, Amazon, the way they give the experience. Now that experience customer expect, whether it's customer from village or customer from city or from town, all need the Amazon and Flipkart type of experience, whether they are buying commodity or they are buying the capital goods. And that is where it is very, very important that the tool and technologies are very important. If one of the, well, let's say you have a Amazon versus you have your own site, and if your own site is not at par with the Amazon, definitely irrespective of price and delivery and all, customer would like to tend towards the getting that smarter experience. And another important is the AI using social media. So nowadays social media is also playing very important role, where all this social media data you can pull out, then again you can do some predictive analysis, and then you can predict that that how what customer feel about you and what is the customer requirement. That is possible through predictive analysis by collecting the data of customer sentiment. So that's how the AI is going to be very, very important to predict the demand and to to meet the customer requirement at what your customer expects. So your selling strategy as well as your forecasting demand strategy, AI is going to play very important role.
Thank you, Mr. Ashwin. So basically, AI is playing a, like you rightly mentioned, a very important role in predictive analysis as well as forecasting. In the This is basically even before we start. This is during the manufacturing or sourcing process, right? Now, once that is done, how do we ensure that all of these smarts actually kind of end up impacting the customer during their transaction or during the process of shopping? So I would like to go to Mr. Mahindran and talk to him about how do you make all of this data available through a common backend where you have all the inventory data, all the transaction data, everything visible or available, all information available to the customer to be able to make a decision and go ahead and complete the transaction or the purchase journey, Mr. Mahendra.
Well, thanks, Santosh. Actually, if you see that there are more and more common channels to say. Like example, I was really wondering earlier, is there a medical equipment or some of the critical, um, how do you say that? The how install base kind of an equipments, can it be sold through online? Okay, of course, always the companies are always trying all the things and all. If we just talk about a big medical equipment, you talk about AMR or CT kind of a thing, it's a very very involved process. So where actually like including you need to build a room. Part of the selling cycle, you need to estimate the complete requirements, including study the locations and the room size, construction, civil work. There's so many things are involved in that. But today, yeah, everything is also come to uni-channel to say. Like example, there are a lot of things are available with unique channels. I don't want to name some of them, but I think we obviously we know that. So there, if you just get on, at least if not a big equipments kind of a thing, I think most of the patient monitoring equipments, to say that, those are all the things are obviously it is available. And in fact, I think while we are just giving the product capabilities, those kind of things and all, uh, to really visualize the product itself, the AR VR, the those are all things are really giving a insight to the buyers, to say. In fact, in AR VR, using AR VR, you simulate yourself in a location, you yourself in a position to almost like touching the equipment and feeling that equipment. So that kind of a that kind of a one. And also the digital factories to say, like example, even we could bring that the entire manufacturing cycle itself, the quality processes for manufacturing the entire product, we could bring that
Mr. Mahendran, are you there? Ashwin, I think you're on mute.
No, no, I think we lost his voice.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, like Mr. Mahendran was mentioning, some of the things that we have seen as a part of this is provide interactivity with the experts. So brands like yours have the expertise, they understand the product very well, extremely well. Nobody understands it as well as the staff that you have. So making a purchase online or any of these don't get made in a whim and fancy. People have to connect with somebody, they have to speak to experts, they have to understand, they have to see a live demo of a particular product and see how it works, try and figure out what are the other changes, like Mr. Mahendran was mentioning, when it comes to medical equipment, the where are we going to fit in, what is the change that may have to be made. Similarly, I think whether it comes to Carrier or even Symphony for that matter, if there are commercial there's going to be some effort needed. All of that needs a lot of consultation and effort. Trying to bring and bridge together and connect all of that is also something that we are seeing a trend where people are being able to connect and provide those kind of information, or uh, provide the information to help make the shopping experience or complete the journey. So, Mr. Mahendran, I was just kind of talking about it while we lost you. It seems Rakesh is also not connected right now. So coming back, Mr. Anil, over to you. While you have a vast range of categories where some of the things could be something that a customer could easily buy online. Things like maybe a charger, or maybe a power bank or something, to certain equipment where they would really need more information and understanding before they make a involved purchase. With the vast range that you have, where certain things are very easy or simple to buy versus some where you would need a lot of research, how are you enabling or providing information to the customer so that they could look at to enable the shopping experience and make them much easier?
Little difficult question for me because I'm not in the end product marketing. We are not in the B2C business, but we have B2B. Now, B2B business is a little slower compared to B2C because customer comes online and he wants, you know, action immediately. While here, if you are adding a new customer, he has to get acquainted to you, your capabilities, your products, evaluate your products. So it's a longer process. So there, presentations, meetings, factory visits, a lot of things happen. So it's little different from a consumer's buying experience online. So we have not put an infrastructure to service the online. In fact, we discourage the online inquiries because we get a lot of online inquiries, but very difficult for me to answer your question on that. It's like
You are on
you are
mute
you are
actually.
muted. You are muted.
Santosh, you are on
You are
mute.
muted. You are muted.
No problem, Mr. Anil. The idea was to try and
Hello.
yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea was to understand your perspective because, given your range, there is a potential or a possibility
Yeah.
for a direct D2C for certain set of products, whereas
Yeah.
certain products definitely it is going to be a B2B. But just wanted to understand,
See,
like you're
actually,
mentioning, yeah,
yeah, actually, we have some customers, some brands who themselves are selling online. You know, so they are our customers, and we are providing them. They're selling online now. The transmission from their experience to us is not so transparent. But yes, we always try to fulfill the customer's requirements, any changing requirements, changing tastes. That keeps on happening. That's the regular part of the development. We have taste of changes. In fact, we are in electronics, and my career of 50 years, I have seen what level of electronics used to be there 50 years down the line and what we are today. So there are every 6 months the customer tastes are changing. There is a regular change and changes of technology, changes of uh, preferences. So all that is there, and the very fact that we are uh, today surviving is in electronics market is that we are continuously changing. So the change is very, very necessary. Continuous change is very necessary to, to adjust yourself, your organization to the customer's needs, any kind of customer. So we also feel that need in a different way. And yes, whether it's our suppliers, whether it's our customers, whether it's employees, all the change, you know, there are change of attitudes and change of requirements are there. And once we sell our product globally, then it becomes much more tough, to satisfy the needs of different nationalities. So there are yes, there are challenges in that area, and you have to be on your toes all the time to see what is the change happening in the market and what is expected, whether it's product features, whether it's a product pricing, or whether it is a product technology, you know. So whatever is the customer's experience, we have to match, his requirements. That's a regular challenge which we get.
sure. Thank you, Mr. Anil. So, Karan, let me put you on the spot here. Considering that you are also primarily focused more on the B2B side of the business or channel partners. Right? Now, end consumers actually look up to you directly as the experts who understand these things better. So I'm sure that there would be quite a bit of visits happening from the customers to your website to understand the product better. Uh, have you considered extending this further to enable customers to transact directly with you, as in place orders, either on your website or even through the marketplaces. Whereas while all of these orders are coming in, they can still get channeled to they can still go back to your channel partners for fulfillment. So you are just creating a digital source of orders when the customers are coming in already to discover and learn and understand the product better, generate those orders, and then pipe them back to your channel partners. So that kind of creates even more visibility and integration, where the orders that are directly going to channel partners for fulfillment, you are able to get that visibility, as well as you are able to maintain that the market leadership of being the sole provider of the most accurate information when it comes to your own set of products.
Right. So I think it's important to understand the value proposition of why you survive in the market, frankly. I mean, before we try to, approach every customer or fulfill every order, it is very important to understand where your synergies of you as an organization lie. Uh, you definitely cannot beat Amazon at its own game. So if I create a separate portal for my customers to approach me directly and I start fulfilling their orders, my energies get diverted. I would rather educate my customers on my web page on different technologies, what Carrier is overall doing on product innovation, on new features that we are adding to our overall product bouquet, how we are approaching this pandemic in terms of new business models, how we are approaching this pandemic in terms of new business solutions. So, like we came up with a healthy building solutions platform globally, and since we were engaged with Harvard Business School on healthy buildings, and we had done a lot of COG study to have a relationship quantified between a healthy building and the impact of productivity on the employees. So we had that background and base to create more products and solutions on that. So when this pandemic, stuck all of us, we in a way were future ready to offer to our customers and end users an answer to how they can breathe with peace of mind. So normally when we say HVAC, the ventilation aspect of that nobody actually looks at. No, people are more concerned about heating aspect or the cooling aspect. But this pandemic also brought awareness about the ventilation concept. So our focus has been primarily to educate our customers on our website, on all the selling channels. Through our partners also, it has been an endeavor to upskill their knowledge in terms of technical expertise when it comes to air quality solutions, upskill their knowledge in terms of overall HVAC products that we deal in, and we generally, enable our customers to approach our channel partners to place their orders. We also integrate our services with couple of online platforms where once the lead is generated, it comes to us and then it gets diverted to our channel partners, as you rightly mentioned, because that becomes another source of inquiry generation for our channel partners to actually look at it and act on it. So we have done all of that while we have tried to look at it from a overall perspective. Limited energy has gone into creating our own platform to enable customers having a direct purchase from us. We are available on e-com websites like we are available on Amazon. If a requirement is there, we would rather have a customer buy from Amazon to help navigate the transaction in a seamless manner, because I'm sure the experience that Amazon today can provide, I mean, to be fair, we can't provide that kind of an experience right now. Today I'm not ready. Tomorrow I may be, but today I would prefer if he goes to an Amazon and prefers my product over the competition. This is the knowledge he gains on my platform. So we are approaching this from a knowledge standpoint. We are approaching this interaction with the customer from awareness standpoint, that he becomes more aware with our products. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Karan. In fact, Mr. Mahendran, pretty similar, right? The thought is, while you are available on marketplaces, and of course your websites are functioning as the source of knowledge and source of information, the orders that are getting generated on our marketplace can still get diverted to your channel partners for fulfillment. That way you are providing one more mechanism of deeper engagement for your channel partners. You are able to continue to leverage the traffic that is being generated by the marketplaces. You are able to leverage on the uh, experiences that they are providing in terms of the overall shopping experience. So, Mr. Mahendran, how do you see this playing out in terms of bringing your the orders coming in from marketplaces and getting them fulfilled through your channel partners?
Actually, if you see, I think the game itself is slightly in higher level. In fact, if we just see that a product like us, it has the complete the um, product strategy itself for each one of the product. What I mean is, like, it's basically an end-to-end customer journey. So we just track the end-to-end customer journey, identify the channels to that, identify the enablers to that, identify the partners to that, and ensure that effectively how do we sell that actually. In fact, I think some of our panel was also mentioning it's not like one solution fit for all. So while we are just leveraging the in fact, what do we say, that part of the solution is delivered by partners, there is a product by product, there is a strategy. So in fact, the supply chain and team in the current digital era, so they just leverage the complete capability. And we also know that currently the digital capability and IT capability is not like an enabler. This is only how this is how you do business now. So they just take a combination of these solutions which is available and assemble for a particular product, so that at least how we will be in a position to handle. In fact, in pandemic time, uh, we have stories that the products are moved in channels which you could not even imagine. In fact, people are traveled from you say lorry to say like train to flight, wherever, whatever possible, and they just enable some medical equipments to serve the people, because it's very very critical. So that way, I'm just putting some exacting situation, but I think there's so many exacting situations now, and also given eye opener for many of the channel decision. So I will definitely say that there is a product wise, the product category wise, the solutions are assembled today. Okay, it's I think it's not like one channel. We decide a channel path. So that's in my summary point, Santosh.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mahendran. I know we are running out of time. To just wrap it up, I'll just one last query to Mr. Ashwin before we wrap this discussion. We have been speaking about digital, we have been speaking about connecting together, we are talking about bringing in a lot of data. We spoke about AI, we spoke about ML. You know, data, when there is so much of data, the security of the data itself also is of prime importance. uh, the way that different channel partners would also be wary of it. They do not want their data to get exposed to any other channel partner, right? Everybody wants to make sure that while the data is available to you as a principal brand, their data is protected and it is segregated for them. So, Mr. Ashwin, just want your thoughts on the security of the data, importance of it, and how have you guys gone about it?
Yeah, data security is very important. And whether you are into B2B or B2C, your data, nowadays, people say data is a cash or data is a gold. And it is very, very important that your data remain with you. So, using the DLP, like data loss prevention, or mobile device management, or we sometime you can use the endpoint security, the active directory. These are the different tools you organizers need to use time to time. And apart from that, also when you are into B2C or e-commerce, there it is also, it has come its own challenge in terms of data. So there also there are a lot of new tools available. Those tools will be used to ensure that your data won't go to the uh, unauthorized use of the data won't be there, and only required data shares to the people. It's not all your data goes, because when we are into dealer, distributor, or e-commerce, we have to be very sure that what data goes to whom and what information should go. So there your data security policy, cyber security or data security policy plays very important role. And very regularly what we do is that we do the risk analysis of the data. We do the risk analysis, risk mitigation plan, and constantly we check that whether all our controls what we have implemented for data loss prevention are in place or not. So this is how we but it require a very rigorous exercise for any organizations to ensure that the data remain within their premises and only required data goes out of the organization. Otherwise this is the indirect, it's again indirect way of revenue leakage. Yeah, this is what we
Thank you,
do.
Mr. Ashwin. Thank you for such a wonderful conversation. To summarize, we spoke about the differences between the B2B and B2C businesses, and how certain B2C trends are now moving towards B2B businesses as well. Having worked with so many different brands and uh, have working on a omni-channel platform, we have seen that omni-channel is now becoming a way of life, whether it is for B2B or B2C. It is not exactly when we talk about omni-channel, it is not exactly the same for B2B versus B2C. Whereas in a B2C environment, it is all about creating, making sure that all the nodes of the network, wherever inventory is available, is all connected, comes through a common unified backend, and is available to all the customer facing channels where consumers are able to place orders. In B2B world, it is much more nuanced and different. It is all about providing the right set of visibility to your channel partners, enabling your sales force and creating a hybrid kind of a model where the sales staff or sales associates are able to use digital tools to sell or to interact with the retailers in a much better, faster way, providing the restrictions around travel and visibility or availability, not knowing when or which particular region is going to be shut down or there are going to be challenges. How do we mitigate or ensure that the orders from the retailers are still flowing through, if not to a specific distributor or a channel partner, to another one, and still getting covered, because some of these um, transactions or interactions are much more critical. Omni as a platform has worked with different brands and retailers across these kind of areas, and helped them through many of these, worked with them through many of these kind of journeys. We call them journeys because technology does not solve all the problems. Technology is one part of the puzzle. The second part of the puzzle is going to be change management, the business processes, and setting up all those together, working and creating a omni-channel ecosystem that works best for your business. With that, any parting thoughts, Mr. Anil, on the trends that you foresee, and then we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, I think we discuss in details all the different changes and trends which is happening around. And with the coming time, this involvement of the digital with the businesses, whether it's B2C or B2B or whatever business, retail business or whatever, is the digital involvement is going to increase day by day. The one of the example is your neighborhood store. Some time back you could go there and buy something. Today you don't have to go. Now how he digitizes himself, because he's facing competition with Amazons and big bazaars, and so the customers are aiding that, the the consumers are aiding that, and ev- down the line, the lowest chain of the business and the uppermost part of the business, everybody has to adapt the digital as fast as possible, as much as possible. But simultaneously, as I said, the hybrid model is going to stay. You cannot do away with the hybrid model, but you can have the percentage of one increased compared to other. So hybrid model of the business will stay, but involvement of digital will keep on increasing in the coming time on various facets of the business, whether it's a finance, whether it's a purchase, whether it's a sale, whether it's marketing. Everywhere, the invasion of digital will increase the efficiencies, and it will drive a better experience to the customer. And the lowest to the uppermost chain, everybody has to get involved. That's what I feel.
Thank you, Mr. Anil. Thank you, everyone, for your valuable
Thank
time and valuable insights. It was a wonderful conversation, and I personally enjoyed it a lot. I kind of learned a lot, considering the perspective that we have and what is happening in the industry. It's great to hear from you guys directly. Thank you so much for that insightful conversation. Have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank
thank
you.
you
Thank
so
you.
much,
Thank you.
everyone, for
Thank you.
joining. It was
Thank you.
great to hear and learn from you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With
Thank
this,
you.
we'll just end the session for the day. Take care of yourself, stay safe, and stay healthy, everyone.